Good morning, students. I hope all of you are fine today. So let's continue with the chapter which we have started before, that is Forest Our Lifeline. Now, students, our next topic is a very important one, which is the importance of forest. Students, as we know, the forest provides a natural habitat to different kinds of organisms, so it do have lot of useful and lot of advantages over various kinds of animals, plants, and as well as for the protection of the natural environment. So, what does forest provide us? Number one, it provides variety of products. For example, it provides firewood. Firewood means the wood that is burned as a fuel, okay, so that we can use it to cook food, timber for construction, and we also use for making the furnitures. Apart from these, students, we also get vegetables, fruits, grasses, different kinds of oils, resins, drugs, that is with the help of medicines can be prepared, and spices. Okay? So these spices are obtained from plants such as cinnamon, cardamom, etc. We also get several kinds of fruits, flowers, okay, leaves, etc. Also we get mangoes, walnuts, mushrooms, which grows in the wild forest, students. Now next usefulness is it prevents soil erosion. Soil erosion means, students, it is the removal of the top layer of the soil, okay, from a region. And who removes this topsoil? There are three factors. Number one is the wind, rain, and river water. Now, students, forest prevents the soil from being washed away with wind, as because it holds the soils together with their roots. Thus, they keep the land fertile. So, in this way, students, degradation of land can be avoided, as well as many layers of vegetation also reduces the effect of heavy rains on the soil, due to which soil sticks together and doesn't get loosed. Next is it controls floods. Forests control floods by holding the water in their roots. Okay, they just lower the water speed so that it obstructs the path of the floods. Now, the excess water which is brought in by floods, it may passes to the other areas, which may provide dangerous or disastrous if it could have been. So that is why forest also controls the floods. Next is it helps in percolation of water and maintaining humidity. See, students, forest, especially rainforest, it provides a very crucial role, as because it controls the climatic conditions. Now, the roots of the soil, which are deeper into the soil, okay, so it makes the soil porous. Porous means there are a lot of pores which are present in the soil, so that water can be passes through and it gets settled down underneath the top layer. Now, so that this process is called as percolation of water. Now, percolation of water, it forms groundwater which is absorbed by the roots. So the water which is moves upward through the stems, it reaches all different parts of the trees. As a result, the water moves upward through the stem and it reaches to the branches, leaves, and different other parts. And students, water which already transferred to the leaves, some amount of water gets evaporated and it makes the air moist. So in this way, it also controls the humidity. Next is it's also used in medicinal purposes. For example, turmeric, honey, aniseeds. These are widely used alternative medicines. Next is it purifies the water. See, students, as we are developing, so different kinds of human activities creating vast amount of waste into the air, for example in form of smoke, and there are a lot of dangerous and harmful gases are also been reduced. For example, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and there are also suspended particulate matter. Suspended particulate matter means the different type of harmful materials, harmful particles which are present in the air and they are moving freely. Now these gases are responsible for causing different kinds of respiratory problems and as well as diseases. So students, as green plants makes their own food by the process of photosynthesis, so they uses carbon dioxide and they release this oxygen. So that is why forests are therefore called as green lungs, as they maintain the oxygen level and the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. Now, forest also brings rainfall, that is, it evaporates the water from the surface of the leaves. As a result, it makes possible for water vapor to reach the atmosphere in a very large amount. So, and in thus, water vapor then condenses to form clouds, okay, in the top layer of the atmosphere, and as a result, rain, frost comes down. Next, it also provides shelter, that is, forest is a natural habitat of different animals and plant species. So if forests are not there, then these species will not able to survive, and the extinction of the species might get faster. Okay, and also it uses or it helps in noise absorbers, that is, forest absorbs the noise of nearby highways, that is, if all different kinds of vehicles are running, then forest absorbs the all different amount of noises. And next, it purifies the water, that is, forest filters the water which is fallen through the leaves and layers of the soil. So this is called as groundwater, students, and that is why groundwater is considered as pure water. Now the next is the destruction of the forest. Students, half of the forest, that is nearly about 48% of the land surface have been destroyed. Okay, so only one fifth of the earth's original forest, that means around 20% of the original forest, they are remain in their natural form. So as we want to progress in our life, so what we are doing, students, we are just harming the land. Okay, we are just cutting the trees, and we are not thinking about the bad and worst effect. So the clearing of land, that is by indiscriminate, that is without thinking of cutting down of trees, these are called as deforestation. So it has some effects in the ecosystem greatly, students. So what are those? See, for example, see students, if the cutting of trees just keeps on going, then it will lead to loss of plants and trees which have provided man with various different things, for example medicines, fruits, resins, timber, etc. Students, next effect is, if forest disappears, then the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere will increase, and ultimately it increases the earth's temperature, and as a result global warming will also get increased. Next is, if the plants and trees in the forest have been destroyed, then it will lead to death of the animal population as well as destruction of the habitat. Okay, and it will create an imbalance in the ecosystem. Now if the removal of forest cover, that is the soil, becomes exposed to the rain and wind, okay, so that means if forests are not there, then the soil become loose and it will washed away by rain and wind. So this will create a loss of mineral salts from the soil. So the soil eventually becomes less fertile. So this causes landslide, students. Now if soil gets washed into rivers and lakes, it will cause to waterways to become shallower. So it will increase the risk of flooding during heavier rains during monsoon seasons. And forest, as it helps in bringing rain, so it also helps in stabilizing, that is, keeps maintaining the temperature, and it makes the environment clean and healthy. So if the whole environment is still clear enough, as because of the forest, so if forest is absent, then it will become dull and barren, students. Okay, that means no plants and trees will grow in those lands, as because there are no nutrients and minerals are present at that point of time. And the next topic is the students, so conservation of forest. So we need to conserve the forest, okay, as because it will maintain the balance in nature. So how we can do it? First of all, overgrazing shall not be allowed. Number 2, we need to plant more and more number of trees. So that is why afforestation programs have been introduced nowadays. Next, we need to protect the wildlife, and we need to make people aware of the usefulness of the forest. Next, we should avoid cutting down of trees, okay, and if trees have been cut down, then it is our responsibility to plant more and more number of trees. That is, if we cut one tree, then we will plant at least 2 or 4 trees on that particular land or somewhere else. Next, we need to find an alternative source of energy. So the use of firewood should be discouraged, okay? That is, should be reduced so that it will create a healthy environment and the pressure will be reduced on the natural resources. Next, forest fires can be controlled by the use of anti-fire solutions. Next, forest nurseries should be organized, should be established, should be arranged, as it will help in afforestation. Next is, we need to introduce social forestry and agroforestry to fulfill our demands, okay? And last but not the least, as forest provides papers, so how forest provides paper, students? So these are the trees that provides paper, but we need to recycle the paper more and more so that we can save the forest, we can save the trees that provides oxygen and maintains the ecosystem, students. Okay, so students, our chapter is completed here. So I have uploaded all the question answers through the PDF. So learn all the question answers and read the chapter carefully. Okay, students. So that's all for today, students. Thank you.